Okay, so imagine like walking into any room and instantly you just know, right? Like you can tell who's nervous, who's like totally dialed in, and maybe even spot someone who's trying to pull one over on ya.
Oh, yeah.
And then on top of that, you can unlock those secret wealth building strategies that most people just completely miss.
That'd be pretty sweet.
That's the kind of stuff we're diving into today.
I love it.
You sent over these 2 awesome YouTube interviews with Chase Hughes. You know, he's that behavior expert who's worked with like CEOs and even secret agents.
Wow.
And then there's Cody Sanchez. She's an investor who breaks down wealth building in such a real way. It's so refreshing.
Yeah, it's like getting a cheat sheet for people and money.
Exactly. We're going to pull out those golden nuggets, the stuff you can actually use to, level up your communication and become like a financial ninja.
I like that stealth wealth.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump into Chase Hughes first. His whole thing about the 3 pillars of success, self-mastery, observation, and communication, it really hit home for me.
It makes sense, right?
Yeah. But it's his focus on comfort and authority and not just skills that's a real game changer.
Yeah, it really flips the script on how we think about success.
Yeah.
Instead of chasing after all these skills, maybe it's more about building our confidence and presence first.
Totally. And he's not talking about, those power poses or anything like that.
It's a good trade.
He actually uses something called an authority inventory.
Okay.
To figure out someone's weakest link in 5 key areas.
Gotcha.
So there's confidence, discipline, leadership, gratitude, and get this enjoyment.
Enjoyment.
Yeah, enjoyment. He actually used this method with the CEO who was being like openly mocked by his employees, helped him rebuild his authority. Can you imagine the turnaround?
Wow, it's got to be tough.
Yeah.
It really shows you that authority isn't just about how you look, it's about an inner state of being.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you know what I found really interesting is how he brings up the Milgram experiment.
Oh, you mean that experiment where they told people to give electric shocks?
Yeah, exactly that one.
I remember learning about that in college. It's pretty messed up.
It is. But it shows you the power of authority. But Hughes argues that it's actually the novelty of the situation that makes us even more susceptible to influence. So like when you're in a new environment, you kind of second guess yourself more.
Oh, totally. Like that time I went to that fancy industry event. Everyone was using all this jargon. I felt so out of place.
Exactly. You're out of your element. So it throws you off and you become more open to suggestion. Which leads us to his next point about reading people.
Yes. He says it's all about noticing those little changes in behavior.
Like what?
And you want to know the biggest giveaway?
Tell me.
Blink rate.
No way, really?
Yeah. Apparently fast blinking means stress, and a super slow blink could mean someone's like in predator mode, like they're about to make a move.
That's wild.
He even says he can predict which entrepreneurs will get funding just by watching their blink rates during pitches.
You're kidding. Get out of here.
Makes you wonder what other signals we're sending without even realizing it, right?
Seriously. It's kind of creepy when you think about it.
Oh, for sure. And speaking of cues, his system for putting people into 6 different groups based on their social needs, it totally blew my mind.
What are the groups?
So you've got significance, acceptance, approval, intelligence, pity, and strength power.
Interesting.
It's like a guide to figure out what makes people tick.
Like a decoder ring for people.
I know, right? So he says, once you know someone's main need, you can change how you communicate to really hit the mark.
Oh, that's smart.
Like if you want to convince someone who values significance, you'd emphasize how their decision is going to make a big difference.
I get it. You frame your message to match their desires.
Exactly. And speaking of persuasion, he shared this CIA technique called elicitation.
Sounds intense.
Instead of asking questions directly, you use statements to kind of subtly get info or steer someone's thoughts.
Okay, give me an example, because that sounds super sneaky.
So let's say you're curious how much someone makes at Whole Foods, right? Instead of asking them straight up, you could casually mention an article you read about their wages and see if they correct you.
Ah, that's clever. You're not even asking, but you're planting a seed.
Right, and it plays on our natural urge to correct things when they're wrong.
Which reminds me of his point about cognitive dissonance. That feeling when your actions and your beliefs don't match up.
Oh, yeah.
He says that master persuaders use this to their advantage.
How so?
They get you to agree to small things first, which then changes how you see yourself and makes you more likely to go along with bigger requests down the line.
Oh, wow. It's like a slippery slope.
Exactly.
I can see that happening all the time. Like when a salesperson gets you to say you want a comfy car and then uses that to upsell you to a luxury model.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's so subtle, but it works.
Oh, yeah. And you know what else I loved about Chase Hughes? His definition of discipline.
What's his take?
He says it's about putting your future self first instead of your present self.
That's interesting.
It's not about denying yourself pleasure or being a robot. It's about asking yourself, what would my future self thank me for doing right now?
I like that.
And get this, he has his clients create like aged photos of themselves to make that connection to their future selves even stronger.
Wow. That's thinking outside the box.
I know, right? Okay, so that was the crash course in the world of Chase Hughes, ready to dive into Cody Sanchez's financial wisdom.
Absolutely. Let's see what she's got to say about building wealth.
So Cody Sanchez, she just comes right out and says, investing, it's not just for the super rich, you know?
Yeah.
She wants to make it easy and accessible for everyone.
It's like she's breaking down those barriers.
Yes. And one of her top tips for beginners is something called target date funds. Have you heard of those?
Yeah, those are pretty neat. They're basically like all-in-one investment packages that adjust the risk as you get closer to retirement.
Exactly. So it takes the guesswork out of picking stocks and bonds.
Right.
It's like having a personal investment manager who's always rebalancing your portfolio for you.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Sanchez says to just choose a fund based on the year you want to retire. Like if you plan to retire in 2065, you go for the 2065 fund. It's super straightforward.
I wish I had known about those when I first started investing.
Yeah.
Would have saved me so much stress.
I know, right? Oh, and another tip she gives that I loved is to automate everything.
Oh yeah, that's huge.
Just set up those automatic transfers from your checking account to your investment account so you're constantly putting money away without even thinking about it.
It's like tricking yourself into saving.
It is. And she tells this incredible story about Ronald Reed.
Ronald Reed.
Yeah, he was a janitor who quietly saved up over $8 million just by consistently investing in stocks for like 70 years.
Wow, no kidding.
It just goes to show you don't need to be some Wall Street hotshot to build real wealth.
It's inspiring.
It really is. And her point is that the real key is staying in it for the long game.
Yeah, not trying to time the market.
Exactly. It's about slow and steady progress, like a marathon, not a sprint.
That's where patience comes in.
Totally. It's about resisting the urge to panic and sell when the market takes a dip or getting greedy when it's going up.
Easier said than done sometimes, though, right?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. But get this, she actually said that losing your investment account password could be a sign of success.
Wait, what?
How? Because it means you haven't been tempted to check it constantly and mess with your investments.
Oh, I get it. It's like ignorance is bliss when it comes to your portfolio.
Exactly. Now, this next part might be a bit controversial, but Sanchez actually challenges the idea that buying a house is always a good investment.
Interesting. Because you always hear, buy a house, buy a house.
I know, right? But she brings up some valid points. She says it's more of a lifestyle choice than a guaranteed path to riches.
True. There are a lot of responsibilities that come with owning a home.
Yeah, and she points out that real estate hasn't always been a great investment.
So what does she suggest instead?
Well, she says maybe consider luxury rentals. You get many of the perks of homeownership without the financial burden.
Never thought of it that way.
Right. It's about finding what works best for your own situation and goals.
I like that.
Okay. Now let's get into taxes. Because Sanchez spills the secrets on how the super wealthy use the tax system to their advantage.
Oh, this is where it gets juicy.
Right. It's not about dodging taxes. It's about legally minimizing them through smart planning.
So like loopholes and stuff.
Exactly. She stresses that it's not about how much money you make, but about what you own. The goal is to shift your focus from being a high earner to becoming an owner of assets.
Because assets offer more tax advantages.
Yes, like stocks, real estate, or businesses.
Gotcha.
She even gives some specific strategies, like borrowing against your appreciating assets instead of selling them so you don't trigger those capital gains taxes.
Over. Yeah,
It's like next level financial savvy.
for sure.
Okay, are you ready for this? Now she gets into blockchain technology.
Blockchain, that's the stuff behind cryptocurrency, right?
It is, but it's way more than just that. It's this whole decentralized system for recording and verifying transactions. It could change everything from finance to how we manage supply chains.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
Yeah.
It's pretty mind-blowing.
She compares investing in cryptocurrency to buying shares of Facebook way back when it was just starting out.
Oh, wow. So like getting in on the ground floor.
Exactly. It's like a chance to be part of something revolutionary.
But also risky, right?
Definitely. It's high risk, high reward. But even if you're not ready to jump into crypto with both feet, it's good to at least understand the basics.
For sure.
Her advice for beginners is to start small. Open a crypto account, buy a little bit of a reputable cryptocurrency like Ethereum and just kind of test the waters.
Dip your toes in before diving head first.
Exactly. Speaking of making big moves, Sanchez also talks about the power of leverage.
Leverage. Isn't that a finance term?
It is, but it applies to so many areas of life. It's basically finding ways to amplify your efforts so you get more bang for your buck.
I see. So like using a small amount of effort to get a bigger result.
Exactly. And she encourages us to think about what our unique skills are and how we can use them to create income and build wealth.
I love that. It's like tuning your passions into profit.
Right. It's not just about making money. It's about creating value, solving problems, and making a positive impact.
That's what it's all about.
Okay, I am so inspired right now. It feels like we've unlocked some secret level of success.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
It's all about taking action now and seeing what happens.
Man, my head is spinning. Blink rates, target date funds, blockchain. It's like we downloaded the secrets to human behavior and finance all at once.
You know, it's funny you say that because I was thinking the same thing.
Really?
Yeah, they both, Chase Hughes and Cody Sanchez. They're both saying that it's not just about learning a bunch of techniques. It's more about building that inner confidence, you know, that belief in yourself.
It's like they're both saying in their own way that you got to believe you can succeed, whether it's mastering communication or building wealth.
Exactly. It's that whole growth mindset, being willing to embrace the challenges and get out of your comfort zone.
Oh, yeah.
Like Sanchez said, life's going to be hard now or it's going to be hard for the rest of your life. So why not choose to put in the work now and enjoy the rewards later?
Man, that quote is so true. It's a good reminder that we have the power to choose.
Yeah.
You know? We can either stay stuck or we can embrace the discomfort that comes with growth.
And it's not about becoming a workaholic or anything like that.
Right.
It's about making conscious choices that line up with your values and goals.
So what does all this mean for everyone listening right now? It means you have the power to change your life, to really step into your full potential.
Absolutely.
Whether it's reading a room like a pro, using subtle persuasion, or making your money work for you, the tools are out there.
These experts, they pulled back the curtain, shown us the secrets. Now it's up to us to take that knowledge and do something with it.
So go out there, experiment, take some risks, and remember the only limits are the ones you set for yourself.